Welcome to Tea Party Tuesdays, where it may be a Tuesday, but in my world, it's always a tea party. And I have a very, very special guest today. She is the Senior Vice President of Merchandising and Marketing for the Hot Topic family of brands, and one of my favorite people. You want to talk about girl boss? Such an inspiration to me, Cindy Levitt. Now, Cindy, I have to tell you, Kate Middleton was so bummed that she's missing our tea party today. She really wanted to meet you. She's very inspired by you, but she has a BAFTA gala tonight.
Oh, so I was so looking forward to meeting her too.
Right?
Next time.
Yeah, I have a feeling we will all be great friends.
Yes.
So she sends her regards.
Okay.
But I am
Thanks,
excited to have a tea party with you.
Me too.
You are such an inspiration to me and so many people. And, I'm so inspired to be here as a part of the Hot Topic family of brands now. And I think of you often because you are employee number one. Not many people can say that they're employee number one of a major company and you're still here growing it. So talk to us about your journey here at Hot Topic.
So besides the fact that I was 12 when I started, no. Yes, I was the first hired employee for Hot Topic, and that's before Hot Topic even had any stores open. The rumor is true, we started in a garage in 1989, so 28 years ago. I had been a buyer for a major department store, and I saw an ad in Women's Wear Daily that said, I'm looking for a buyer to start a fun new company that, isn't like regular department stores. And I'm like, that's for me. I can't work in a department store anymore. They're too rigid on what you could buy. And so I answered this ad in 1989, and it was this gentleman, Ord Madden, who said, we're going to start this company, and it's going to be the funnest place to work. The culture is going to be amazing, and we're going to have young men's accessories and young women's accessories, but the coolest, hippest stuff. So we really started as an accessory store back in 1989. We opened 2 stores. And we slowly grew into this, the story was we're the goth store, but what it was always pop culture. That was in 1989. It was all about, rebellious looks and clothing and accessories. And we were the first ones to ever bring in rock tees into a store. And because you could only get them in at concerts, and so we had a lot of requests. And some of our first licenses were Homie the Clown from Living Color. That was the first time, because when we started going like, oh, there's this Homie the Clown character, we got to try to find the T-shirt, and we did, and we put it on the little pole in the store, and because we didn't have the stores, but they didn't look like we did now, and blew out. And then it was also Twin Peaks. That was another thing where it was like, there's this cool show. We were always on the forefront of trying to figure out where this merchandise, how did we get contact studios, how did we get it, and how do we just constantly evolve with pop culture and geek culture. And then our stores, who we listen to, because they are the ones that know everything first, they're like, there's the weirdest thing, they want this character called SpongeBob. We didn't even know what SpongeBob was. It was a kid show on Nickelodeon. And then our other big breakout was Napoleon Dynamite. No one knew what it was. It was an indie film in sporadic theaters across the country, and that blew up. And then everyone started thinking that Hot Topic was a place to make things cool, because you could put something like SpongeBob or an unheard of indie film like Napoleon Dynamite into the stores and it would blow up. But what we always say is, we don't make things cool. The customer makes it cool, and the fans make it cool. They just come to tell us they want it.
Now, how did you go from the buyer that answered the ad, sitting on the picnic bench, to the senior vice president? I mean, that is quite the amazing journey. And there had to have been those moments when you're sitting on the picnic bench where you doubted what you were doing.
You don't just do your job and get promoted. You have to work really, really hard. Things were so lean in those days that I was buyer by day in an office in the back room. After we moved, we did move from the garage after we opened the first 2 stores to the stockroom of Montclair Plaza, California, which is like size of this, and with 2 desks. You can never rest on what's going on in the world out there. You can't just go, okay, I've worked all day. I'm not gonna pay attention. So you have to have a passion for pop culture yourself, and a passion for what you do. No matter what you do, you have to love it. You have to live and breathe it all the time. You can't just clock in and out and be that person 8 hours a day. You have to transform yourself to being just passionate about what you do. I can't say enough about just working hard and believing in it. And then my other tip is write thank you notes along your way. That is the best.
That is a great tip.
Thank people for taking you to dinner. Thank people for having that appointment with you. And if it's just even a note, it's just the people remember it, because nowadays people don't do it.
That is true. That is wise advice. My mom taught me that as well, and I love thank you notes. I think let's take a bite of what we have here. So we have some chocolate tea, and then some cheesecake, a chocolate torte, a lemon tart.
One other thing about my love of tea parties is when I was 19, I moved to London to work and study British retailing at a British department store, because I loved the high streets of London when I went there when I graduated high school. And I went back and learned British retailing, and I learned to drink tea with milk, the British way. It was a fun experience. I took a lot of what I did then and brought it to what I learned in London and England and British retailing and brought it to Hot Topic. And part of that is about sharing things with your employees, having them weigh in on everything, just having it's all about company culture.
Now, you mentioned something, bringing your experience with you. Talk about the times that you failed. And the reason I bring that up is because some of the most defining times, the hard times, the times where you failed actually are, I find people who are very successful, the times that they go back to and say that's where they learn the most. What do you say about failure? And the reason I ask is because a lot of people feel that it's not okay to fail. And I think those are the defining moments when I look back of where I learned the most.
I think even these days more than ever, people are afraid to fail, because I think so many people are, you're a winner no matter what you do. And it's not true in business. You fail. And I've always lived by the saying of you can't get to the fruit of the tree unless you go out on the limb. You can't be perfect, and you will fail. And you learn, as you said, you learn by those failures, and you have to expect those failures. And I always say to our buying team and marketing team, there's not really a mistake that we can't fix. So there's nothing that can't be fixed if you're forthcoming about it, and if you say, well, I did this and this and this worked, but I messed up this, and it's like, well, fix it.
One of my favorite Alice in Wonderland quotes is, "Why sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." So I want to know from you today, what is one impossible thing that you are believing in today?
The impossible thing I'm believing in today is that I'm going to be ready for the board meeting tomorrow, get my nails done, and finish watching this Studio Ghibli documentary all before Saturday.
That's perfect.
That kind of is my life. It's like maintaining everything, working, doing a board meeting, and still keeping up with pop culture.
Thank you for believing in your impossible dream, because your dream is now our reality.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Well, you've made so many people so happy. Hot Topic is truly a destination that brings joy and happiness and allows people to show off their fandom and be who they are. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. This was so fun.
Thank you for joining my Tea Party Tuesdays, and thank you.
Next time, Kate needs to be here.
Kate will be here. And you know what? Maybe she'll bring Pippa.
Oh.
I think we're all meant to be friends.
Yes. That sounds like fun.
All right. Well, thank you for joining Tea Party Tuesdays, and I hope you have a curious day. Cheers.
Cheers.